Hello, all sentient beings, and welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we talk all news, comics, and media related to the... On this episode, we have a lot of bad news rumored about IDW Publishing. We review Beast Wars number 10, and we talk about some more stop-motion videos from Hasbro. Today's Friday, December 10th, 2021, start of TFCon Toronto, and this is episode 263 of Transmissions Alt Mode.
Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, the podcast that's looking into what it would take to become the next licensee for Transformers comics. I'm your host, Charles, aka Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Jeremy, aka Yakko.
Hey, how's it going?
Scott, the illustrious
Dr. Pants.
Hello, everyone. I'm in a Disney movie.
and Daryl, the Cybertronian beast.
Does that make you a Disney princess?
You know what? Yeah, I'm a Disney princess. Let's just go with that.
Just take it.
Yeah. There's worse things to be.
Let's talk Transformers.
All right, as always, we start off the show by thanking our Donatreons, those lovely people who support us on Patreon and PayPal. Thank you guys for continuing to support the show. We really appreciate everything you do for us. That helps us keep the show going. We have one new supporter this week. We're welcoming back Dogmatician to the Donatreon ranks. So thank you, Dogmatician, for joining up again. And you will be receiving all those perks that our Donatreons get. So that includes being automatically entered into our monthly $10 Toy Hacks gift card drawing and getting access to all the bonus episodes we have on our Patreon. In particular, all the extra Empire of Rust, our live play RPG podcast, Transformers RPG podcast. And we've got lots of bonus shows there. This week, we have the uncut version of Empire of Rust episode 65. Actually, coming next week, I should say. It's coming this Monday, December 13th. So this is When the Party's Over, It's Over. And this bonus early episode is exclusive to Donatrons. And everyone else will get the regular episode in another week on December 20th. So look forward to that. Episode 65, When the Party's Over, It's Over. All right, well, let's jump right into some comics news. And this is a big week. Unfortunately, this news isn't great. And this is all rumors. I should say this is still rumors and speculation, but apparently it came out during SDCC, which took place over the Thanksgiving holiday week. Apparently this was leaked from, this was reported by Bleeding Cool that looks like IDW is set to lose the Transformers and pretty much all the Hasbro licenses in 2022. This is coming on the heels of IDW already losing Marvel Action and the Star Wars licenses, which, I mean, that, of course, Marvel probably could, when that deal ran out, we didn't think it was likely that Marvel would renew that. But Hasbro has been a supporter of IDW for a long time, since 2005. So over 16 years. So, yeah, that doesn't bode well to see IDW potentially losing all the Hasbro licenses for all their books. So no Transformers, no G.I. Joe, no My Little Pony, no nothing, almost. And as the hits keep on coming, in addition to that bad news, we've got news that might be John Barber is no longer at IDW Publishing. He's no longer editor-in-chief. And it looks like on LinkedIn, IDW has a job posting for an executive editorial director, which, I mean, sounds kind of like an editor-in-chief, but Yeah, we haven't gotten any official word from either IDW or John Barber about whether this is true or not. But if both these things are true, that spells not great news for IDW in the future going forward. And also that puts all the Transformers comics in a limbo, so we're not really sure what's going to happen with them. Yeah, so not great news. And my particular concern is all the awesome artists and writers and folks who work on all these Transformers comics, and will they have a home to go to, or everything's freelance, so they're not IDW employees, but will they be able to have work, and what happens to all the ongoing series that are continuing? I know we've had ups and downs with the current IDW comic that started in 2019, the main Transformers comic. But I think the Beast Wars comic that has 10 issues so far has been doing really well. So I'd like to see that Beast Wars comic continue, and like to see these things not just be ended when IDW ends the license. But I guess maybe we'll just go around and give our thoughts. Maybe Dr. Pants, what do you think? Do you think these rumors are credible, and what do you think this will mean for the future of Transformers comics if the license goes somewhere else?
Oh my God. If the license goes somewhere else, I would honestly expect them to restart with their own continuity if someone else picks it up. I really doubt they would continue what was going on. I mean, I'm not a big comic buff, so I don't know a whole lot of information, but I mean, has something like this happened in the past where, a franchise changes license and they end up continuing the same storyline or continuity?
IDW brought back the G.I. Joe Real American Hero with Larry Hama, and it picked up where the Marvel left off.
Okay. Oh, did it? Okay. So
yeah. So, I mean, it's still going, and, we have Regeneration 1, which kind of, I mean,
yeah,
it was what it was, but
yeah, no, you're right. Okay. I mean, I would hope that if they do lose the license and it goes to somebody else, number one, keep the continuity going. I'd hate for them to restart with everything they've been building right now, because they've been setting a lot of really good groundwork in this continuity, and I really like it. And oh God, if Beast Wars doesn't continue, I don't know what I'd do. I need Beast Wars in my life. I need this comic in my life. And I would hope that if that happened, that these artists and writers who are working on it would go along. But I don't know. I don't know if the rumors are credible or whatnot. I mean, they're rumors. Who knows what's going on the business side of things? Because there's a lot of business that happens that gets kept hush hush. A lot of business dealings we're not privy to. So who knows what's going to happen? My biggest hope would be that nothing changes and this all just keeps going. Because I've said before, I love what IDW is doing with the current continuity. I love the Beast Wars comic. King Grimlock's been kind of cool. All these artists and writers have been doing a really good job. I don't want to see it change and then be left not knowing what could happen.
Yeah, it's. I mean, since Hasbro does own the intellectual property, Hasbro as the licensor owns it. So theoretically, they could, if they do shift the license to another comic book company, they could continue those stories with the same writers and artists, since they're all freelance, if they just hired them and continue to have them to work them on it. I mean, the fact that potentially John Barber is leaving, I mean, maybe does that mean Hasbro would be, maybe they'd say, well, you got to put our guy John Barber installed to take charge of these books or these properties for whatever you're doing with our licenses. I don't know, maybe, because I mean he does have a really good relationship with Hasbro, so I don't know. Yeah, this is all wild speculation, but Jeremy, what do you think? What do you look into your crystal ball and tell us what the future holds?
Oh, my crystal ball it's horrible in predicting anything. But this I mean, we've all seen this coming, particularly with like the news about Dark Horse taking the Star Wars, kids line. Hasbro has a deal with Boom Studios for the Power Rangers books. So if anything, I could see them getting the license for, at the very least, Transformers and G.I. Joe. My Little Pony, I don't know if they would move. I mean, they've always been a very strong seller, but like the recent Transformers books have been in the like sub 9,000 issues in sales, with the exception of like King Grimlock #1 did pretty well. But I mean, when you look at like the TMNT Ronin books have just been blockbusters for IDW, and I'm sure Hasbro has been looking at that and being like, you're doing that for a Nickelodeon. Why are our books not doing so well? And, it's, I don't see like Marvel or DC picking them up. I mean, particularly Marvel, since they're seeing like, they're not really picking up a lot of licensed characters except ones that they have a history with, like Conan, or didn't they pick up Aliens? Or
Yeah, they got Alien and Predator.
Yeah. So I mean, but it's books that they've had a history with, and I know they've had a history with Transformers and G.I. Joe, but I don't see it as being a fit with what they're doing. I mean, I would love it because that would give a lot of stability. And actually, now that I'm kind of talking it out in my head, on the movie side, with the rumors of the Paramount deal, expiring after the next movie, maybe Marvel / Disney might be a home, and, on the movie side, and, there could get some juice there. Who knows? I personally, I feel like Boom Studios is the most likely location for it to land because Power Rangers is already there. But it's sad because, I mean, for the good and the bad, it has been one of the most successful homes for Transformer comics, because, Dreamwave was a mess, and I think they've done very well overall. And the John Barber stuff, I did look, his LinkedIn still shows editor-in-chief, but his Facebook doesn't mention it at all. I don't know if that's ever been updated, but it would make sense that they're hiring an executive editorial director that has like all of the responsibilities that seem to be what an editor-in-chief would do, and it reports directly to the publisher. And I think just in comics in general, the editor-in-chief title is starting to disappear. So, I mean, it sucks because, John's a good guy, but, it makes sense if you're losing licenses, and this guy is kind of most, linked to the licenses. Someone's got to take the hit. But yeah, the worst part about all this in my mind is, in having to like look up stuff about it, I'm having to like run into all these videos from Comic Gate, morons, and just having to expose myself to that has been horrible. So, I'll be happy when I don't have to do that anymore.
Oh, I didn't know you were doing that. Sorry, Jeremy.
Doing searches on YouTube, and they're all over. It's an infestation.
All right. Well, Daryl, what are your thoughts? And what do you see as the future for Transformers comics, if there is a future for Transformers comics?
Man, so we've been on and off covering this for a number of probably years now.
Years.
And IDW just, it doesn't seem like they're in a good state. Now we say all this and we talk about it, and it's all still rumors. Nothing's been set in stone. And this has been, I remember a similar story to this happening a number of years ago where everybody thought the IDW was going to lose the licenses, and then lo and behold, nothing happened because it was just the licenses had come up for renewal, and they all came up for renewal at the same time. And so it just kind of, it looked like they were going to lose the licenses because they were all, they expired, right?
The way the process works, it looked like it.
So we could be saying all this and there's nothing's going to happen. That being said, could be the other way, and we could be looking at a complete shift in the market with IDW losing a good chunk of their stuff. Now, one thing that kind of got reminded me of when you mentioned you were talking about John and how he's not on any kind of like list or anything like that, but he does have a really good relationship with Hasbro. An old job that I used to have was running a computer store, and it was a computer store that had a section in it that was the source by Circuit City. This was a while ago, so that was something that was. But I ran this store during the closure of Circuit City, and so there was a power struggle that I was a part of. Like, I witnessed as being in this kind of company, kind of sideways, kind of in it. So the guy who ran Circuit City at the top, the CEO quit the Canadian side of Circuit City. Okay. He quit and just kind of left it to kind of flounder. Nobody kind of knew where he was. And he was gone for months. Fast forward to when, the closure of the stores is all, it's all taking place and everything's going. This guy shows up again as a board member and advisor to Bell Media. And so he's got all the connections and he knows who to talk to, and he knows all the ins and outs of the company now. And he advises Bell on what to do to gain access and to kind of acquire the Circuit City brand. And that's what eventually happened. This guy kind of ushered in, all of that stuff. So anyway, the store, we were an independent store, but we had this kind of licensee kind of a deal with that Circuit City brand. We ended up selling Bell stuff after this because that's the way it went. So you mentioned this, and it just kind of brought back all these memories that I don't see John. Like, I've met John Barber at a TFCon when he was, in between positions at IDW, the first time. He doesn't seem like that guy who's going to, leave his position because he knows that, something is, some kind of business aspect is over the horizon. I think he's a creative guy first rather than a business guy second. I also think that this, editor-in-chief job has been really tough on him. I don't think he's really super enjoying it, but it's a job that needed to be done at IDW, and they needed him to do it, so he did it. But in my mind, I think there's a possibility that if IDW is losing the licenses, one company, let's say it's Boom, somebody from that company reached out to John and said, "Hey, we're going to make a play for all these licenses. Would you be interested to coming over to Boom and advising us on what we need to do to get, contacts at Hasbro. And there's potential there. That's a possibility. We may never know unless obviously something like that happens. And lo and behold, John shows up as a part of Boom, but you never really know. As far as the future of Transformers comics, we've seen this before twice. It ended with Transformers comics in Marvel, and actually we've seen it more than twice because Devil's Due had the license for a while there.
We saw it twice with Marvel.
That's true. Yes, and Marvel had it again. So and then Dreamwave had it. Famously had it, and shit the bed with it. And then there was a time when we didn't have comics because there's that Dreamwave to IDW was there was some time in there. But yeah, I think there will be comics. Jeremy pointed it out. There's the comics don't sell super well. Right now is probably some of the best numbers we've seen in Transformers comics in a while, and it's under 9,000 copies. That's crazy low, right? Like when
in the heyday of Robots in Disguise and More Than Meets the Eye, it was what 12 to 15 on average.
Yeah. We talk about how revered More Than Meets the Eye and Lost Light were. Like Lost Light sold 5,000 copies a month. Like it did not sell well at all. And you wonder why it got canceled. It's because nobody freaking bought the book. Right. So, all these companies are looking to figure out a way to sell comics again. Last time we heard, digital was still selling around 24%, 25% of physical, right? It's not the same. It's not 100, it's not twice as much, or it's not near as much as what physical is still. So they're still trying to figure out how to do that. You mentioned the Ronin series, the Turtles Ronin series. That story has been around forever. Right. Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird had that story in their head when they were writing it back in the 80s. But they just kind of shelved it. Also, if you've been reading it, it's Dark Knight Returns. That's the story. It's a Batman story with turtles in it. That's what it is. But it's a great story, but it's not new. It's just a really great story. They could do it with Transformers for sure. They could do something like that with Transformers, definitely. But it's not groundbreaking. But if the future of Transformers comics, I don't want to sound pessimistic, but there's a strong possibility that we may not. If this ends with IDW, there's a strong possibility that we may not see Transformers comics for a while. And that would be a shame.
I mean, which is sad because, like you're seeing, they're still working with IDW, like with the Shattered Glass figures having a comic tie-in.
Yeah,
I mean, Hasbro sees the benefit of having the comics, and we're seeing the Tarn figures from everyone but Hasbro.
Yeah.
It'll be a shame if there's not. When we go through a period without the comics, but just the sales. I mean, this is why comics reboot all the time to kind of boost the sales. And it's been bad for years.
Yeah, it is. The comic industry in general is exploding right now. The pandemic did for the comic industry what it did for Pokemon cards, what it's done for, baseball, hockey cards, what it's done for Magic the Gathering, all that kind of stuff. The comic book industry has absolutely exploded. Why has Transformers comics not exploded? because it's a branded, book. It's a toy based, book, and nobody cares about that. First appearance of Transformers is the only one. Transformers #1 from 1984 is the only stinking book that has ever really gone up in price. That's it. It's ridiculous. And there should be so many more books out there in the Transformers 80, even the Marvel run, the More Than Meets the Eye run. There's a first appearance of Windblade in there, right? That's a character that's in every single cartoon now, right? Has got at least half a dozen toys, right? Why is that not worth money? Should be. Right? There are some great books that can be speculated on in the Transformers runs, and nobody could give two shits about them. And it's super unfortunate. But for whatever reason, people don't give a crap about books, about toys.
Yeah. I will say with the one thing that's been nice about IDW is I think they've been the longest ongoing Transformers comics producer, like, from 2005 to 2022, I guess that will have been 17 years. And, Marvel, we had from 84 to 91 and then another year. And so that's like, 8 or like 7 or 8 years. Dreamwave was just a couple of years. So IDW has really put in the long haul, but it's always sad to see something come to an end like that. And I don't know. I mean, I think this means with all these things leaving IDW, I don't know if IDW as a company is going to stay, around much longer. So.
What do they have outside of TMNT?
Yeah, not a lot.
They'll have like Lock and Key.
They still have Ghostbusters, right?
Yeah.
Still have Ghostbusters. They'll have Turtles. They still do a lot of stuff that's not,
and
toy based.
Maybe being a smaller company might be better for those.
Yeah.
They really just wasted so much money on the TV side of things, and that's if they hadn't gone down that route, they would have done, they would be fine on the comic side, I'm sure.
Still doesn't get people buying the books though.
Well, no, but I'm sure they're in debt, and they've been throwing money down the hole.
Yeah,
sure.
All right. Well, let's move away from this depressing topic and move on to reviewing a comic that we really like.
Yay.
All right. We are talking this week about Beast Wars #10. This is written by Eric Burnham, art by Josh Burcham, letters by Jake M. Wood. Assistant editor is Riley Farmer. Editor is Jasmine Joyner, and supervising editor is David Marriott. There are 4 covers, which one of them surprised me. I saw it and it wasn't listed in the wiki, and I had to find it, but we'll get there. Cover A, and these all have like the A, B, and the retailer incentive all seem to have a theme for some reason. Cover A has a maximal group shot. They're all either in or riding on a shuttle. This is by Anna Malkova. Cover B has the OG maximal group breaking through a wall. This is by Freddie Williams and Jeremy Caldwell. Retailer incentive has a maximal group shot, including the new member Razor Beast by Casey Collar and John Paul Bove. And then there's a retailer exclusive that shows Optimus Primal ready for battle. And this is by artist Red Code or frankiescomics.com. And I found that there. I'll have a link in the show notes. They're selling it on there for $20. So, Dr. Pants, let's start with you. Which one of these do you like?
a lot of really good art this month. A lot of these covers are just spectacular. I'll say the retailer incentive one, the Casey Collar one, I think that looks great, and the coloring is just fantastic. It's a really, really good looking cover. And that Red Code one, that I'm not sure I'm totally down for the bulkiness of it, but oh man, it's beautiful. Everything done with that, I think it looks great. But I'm gonna say my favorite one is just cover A. It's basically, showing what's going on in the book, and Anna does some amazing work. It's got a kind of cool cartoony look to it, but it's got a cool style, and I really like it.
Yeah, everyone there is just kind of crouched and ready for action, and Dinobot's just standing there like, yeah.
Yep. He's got to be that stoic warrior type.
Yeah. All right, Daryl, which one of these is your favorite?
Well, I alluded to it on trips to the store this week, and I'm really taken with the Casey Collar RI cover. I always liked Casey's line work, and this one's no different. I did end up buying the cover B because they somehow came in different weeks, but that RI is a good looking cover.
Nice. And Charles?
I'm going to have to agree with Dr. Pants on cover A by Anna Malkova. I really like the dynamic pose there and tying into what happens in the issue. I just like the Maximals look pretty badass there. So yeah, cover A.
Yeah, I think I'll agree with cover A as well. I mean, I think they're all good covers. One of those weeks where you can't really go wrong picking, if you don't get your first choice, they're all really good. But cover A, I think, is just, it's so dynamic. The colors on it are really good. I think that's my favorite this week. All right, into the story. So the Maximals are all meeting and talking about Optimus Primal's command after the last in the last issue that they're going to go and take the fight to the Predacons, and Primal is apologizing for being so kind of passive and wanting to kind of stay behind their shields, but Black Arachnia breaching their shields has shown him that they can't just sit back. They need to take the fight to the Predacons, and so he's got a plan for a full-scale attack where they're also going to take the Golden Disc and damage the Predacons' transwarp drives. And as he's going through this plan, Rat Trap, as always, he has his doubts, but he's like, we don't even know anything about this Golden Disc. And Dinobot, he says that he's told to Optimus everything he knows about it. And Rat Trap says, well, tell the rest of us. So Dinobot gives us the story of the Golden Disc. And he says that it was found by an Energon prospector that was drilling on an asteroid and found this wrecked space probe of alien, it wasn't Cybertronian, and salvaged this lone golden disc. And when he returned it to Cybertron, the science ministry analyzed it, and they detected transwarp energy on it. And that's an indicator that the disc had traveled through time at some point. And while the data of the original species that launched it into space was easily decoded, they found that there was hidden Cybertronian data on there. And they managed to decode one of the disk files, and after decoding it, they decided to downplay the whole, everything about their findings. However, one Predacon scientist on the team disagreed with that, and he went and sought the assistance of a Predacon named Galvar, who eventually took the name Megatron, and from there we know what happened to the disc. So Optimus then gives everyone the plans. They're going to destroy, or they're going to try to either take or destroy the golden disc. They're going to sabotage the ship. And because Black Arachnia can get into the Axelon, he wants to make sure that the Predacons are just going to be too busy with their own problems for as long as possible, so the Maximals can go and search for as many of the down stasis pods as they can and reactivate the Maximals inside. So with this, they're ready to go, but Rat Trap points out that it's a long walk. So, but Optimus is also planned for that, and he and Dinobot have taken the shuttle, retrofitted it into a ship that can take them over to the dark side. So they all pile aboard and fly over. And Optimus then lays out the last details of his plan. Rat Trap is to go and steal the disc, while Nyx goes to go and try to sabotage the transport drive, and Razor Beast is going to, in the battle, try to occupy crap. Sorry. I don't have that. Dang it. What was her name? Oh, Razorbeast is going to occupy Scold, since he's already encountered Scold, and he feels like there's less of a chance of anyone actually getting hurt in that battle. So as they get close, Primal says to set down the ship and, so they can go and sneak over, but Dinobot has made some hidden modifications to the shuttle and hits a button which fires some missiles at the at the Predacons who were just standing outside. And then as they wonder what's going on, Primal jumps out and demands that Megatron come forward. And that's the end of this issue. So I thought this was great. This was a setup issue. The title of the issue was The Maximal Strike Back Part 1. So good name. I mean, there wasn't really any action to speak of except at the very end, but I imagine next issue is going to just be nonstop. And this is just, it's great. I love, I think I say this every time. I love how it's deviating from the original Beast Wars story. And it's clearly its own thing now. I think the history of the Golden Disc was great, where, I mean, they don't even mention humans or Earth or anything. And, I think it's they're from so far in the future, they probably have no knowledge of Earth because we've destroyed the planet by then. But this was just a lot of fun. The art was great. And I thought some of the sound effects, I don't know if they were put in by Josh Burcham or if they were by Jake M. Wood, but on Rat Trap specifically, there were some sound effects like what was it? It was like, oh,
What do you mean, like the why I oughta when he's shaking his fist?
the why I oughta, like he's like shaking his fist, and it's just you can hear the voices from the show in this book, and I think that's really great. So this book just continues to be a lot of fun. Dr. Pants, what were your thoughts? I know you got plenty.
I always have plenty because I love Beast Wars, and I'm so glad you guys review it when I'm on. I loved it. I continue to love this book, and Josh Bertram doing art, fantastic. And I just want to point out that I love all the little details Josh is throwing in here. I love the little comedy stuff when we see the Predacons training towards the end. Like Scorponok's wearing a hat that says coach, and he's got a clipboard, and he's like helping teach the other ones. And you can see that Waspinator and Skald both have like headbands and are in like martial artist pose. And it's silly little stuff like that I love. I also want to mention that like in the flashback where Dinobots talk about the golden disc, the one who finds the golden disc, like, that's totally Energon Landquake. And like, that's really cool. And if you look at the panel right before it on the previous page, the ship that's flying in, that's the super mode for Energon Mirage. So he's throwing in like all these weird robots from like different continuities, which is cool. And then the science team, I don't know who 3 of them are, but one of them that's totally based off Cyberverse Wheeljack's design with the crazy mustache going on.
But it was animated Wheeljack's design.
Oh, is it animated? I thought it was Cyberverse. Okay.
But Josh Bertram says in that the one that resembles Rat Trap is from Beast Wars Uprising comic. It's called Lab Rat.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then there's a Botanica based on how she also looked in that Beast Wars Uprising.
Okay.
And then there's a character called Reptilian in there as well.
Okay, Reptilian's the one that goes to Megatron. That was the one that I was like, I have no idea who that is. But still, like, the Energon characters, I think, are really cool throwing their designs in there. I think they need some love because there's some really cool designs. In terms of the background of the Golden Disc, I think it's kind of cool that we're getting, like, our own thing. But at the same time, it is still reflecting a little bit the original show. Because I remember in the first season, they don't mention anything about, like, this is why they came back, because they didn't have the disc decoded. And throughout the original Beast Wars series, Megatron decoded it. So it is still kind of following along with that, but at the same time taking its own steps. I mean, we're getting characters we didn't have any before, like Razor Beast and the Maximals going and attacking. It's really cool. I like seeing the moment where Pterosaur tries to like go up against Megatron. It's very much a Starscream moment, and Megatron still beats the crap out of him, which is cool. I like the moment where Waspinator gets everybody to duck down. Like, he actually ends up like kind of saving them. He pushes Black Arachnia and Scorponok both down, which is weird because Waspinator's the whipping boy. The universe hates Waspinator, but he's still saving them, which is kind of cool. That final shot of Optimus Prime's just standing there with the face mask up, the swords out. So many times I look at this book and I just, Josh, if he's listening, like, good God, give me a print of that. I want a print of that shot. It's so good.
I know. Even a print with the "Where's Megatron" text. I think that'd still be great.
Yeah. Actually, I would take just a print of that page. If he sells his original pages at all or anything, if I could get that, I would snag that. That's beautiful. I love it. I have no complaints about this book. I am a Beast Wars fanboy, and honestly, I think they're doing a really great job with this. And writers, artists are knocking it out of the park. I can't wait for another issue.
Awesome. All right, number one Beast Wars fan, Daryl.
Yeah. I wasn't a super big fan of the book. Just gonna put it right out at the start. I'm between the toys that we're getting right now from the Amazon Golden Disc collection, the heavy focus on the Golden Disc in the Netflix show, I've had enough of the fucking golden disc. I'm done with the fucking golden disc.
But Beast Wars is the origin of all that.
Yeah, no, it's not. The spacecraft is that we sent up.
Yeah, Voyager is the real origin, or Voyager. But
yeah, there you go. So I'm so done with the golden disc. And it's we got one with the Ark as well, So I'm so fed up with that golden disc. It's a plot line, it's a plot device that's getting just overused at this point. So you're gonna write a Beast Wars story, better have the golden disc in it. Okay, I could care less about the golden disc now at this point. The humor's fun, the coach hat, that's fun. It's all great fun. I just there's this there for me, nothing happened in this book that I particularly cared about. I mean, it's a fine book. I'm glad Dr. Pants is just over the moon about it. But it did absolutely nothing for me. So there you go.
Okay. Charles, finish up with you.
Yeah, I like the direction the Beast Wars comic is taking. I like proactive Maximals. It's nice to see that. I like to see Optimus Primals being a little bit gung-ho and saying, we can't just sit behind our shields and our base. We can't just wait for the Predacons to make a move. We have to take the initiative and take action. And I think that was a good way to set up this whole story going forward. And I also like the subplot with Pterosaur and Megatron, and Pterosaur getting his comeuppance and almost losing his life if Tarantulas hadn't intervened. So that was a nice little then Megatron is so arrogant, he thinks the Maximals are just completely beneath any kind of consideration, that he's willing to kill off one of his own troops because he doesn't care that he'll essentially he's giving the Maximals an advantage, but he doesn't see it that way. He says the Maximals are just worthless. But then, of course, at the end of this issue, we see the Maximals are going to prove him wrong. At least, show him that they're a credible threat. So I thought this book was really good. Josh Burcham's art continues to be great. The last page where you see Optimus Primal is ready for business because he finally has his face mask all the way up. So the first time that happened in the comic. It's I'm looking forward to the next issue.
Awesome. Well, that is it for the comic review.
All right, we'll move on to Transformers Media News.
All right, in media news this week, we got a new stop motion video featuring some figures from Transformers Cyberverse, and this is 3 minutes long, and it's kind of fun. It features Soundwave, Starscream, Bumblebee, and RC. So if you want to take a look at that, you can just click on the link. It's all on YouTube. So and it's not region locked, so that's good. I don't think Hasbro's it's the official Transformers channel, so I don't think it's going to be region locked at all anymore. So that's pretty good. The video is 13 minutes long, but the actual stop motion video ends at 3 minutes, and then an actual episode of Cyberverse kicks in after that. So you don't have to feel like you need to sit for 13 minutes because you've probably seen it all already. Moving on, we've got another one of those stop motion videos that appeared before the 86 movie replay. This one is who else had a Quintesson space loogie on their bingo card? Charles, did you see this one?
It was not in the theater, so they actually cut this from the theater showing, but I did watch it, and it was a fun little video. I mean, it was basically showcasing Unicron transforming, the studio or the HasLab Unicron transforming. So it was a nice little animation, and they did try to mimic what you see in Transformers the movie in terms of some of the positioning, and it looked cool. And then the addition of the kind of retcon that the Quintessons actually created Unicron as a way to take back Cybertron was an interesting way to add a little twist to the video. So yeah, it was a nice little video.
Right on. Yeah, so I actually haven't watched this yet. I haven't watched any of those through yet. So every time we do this show, I created a little playlist, and I haven't actually watched them yet. I gotta sit down and watch them all. But lastly, for movie news, we have an article. It's on the TFW 2005 page, and it's an APU production manager. It's APU. Do you know what APU stands for? I don't know.
Automatic Power Unit.
Good enough for me. And they are interviewed, and they talk about working on the Transformers Rise of the Beast film in Peru. So they talk about the movie and the filming and what kind of things going on in there. It's a good size interview. So if you feel like reading that and talking about filming, the filming aspects of filming in Cusco, Peru, it's can give it a good read here.
I mean, it's kind of dry. I read it. It goes into like basically like what they had to do. But one of the interesting things was he revealed that Peru didn't have any kind of visa for like the actors and stuff to come in, because most places will come in, film the locations, and then the actual acting is done, somewhere else. Yeah. But here they brought in, the actual actors. So they had to come up with a new visa, and it was like an arts visa or something. And initially the first people that came through the airport, the people there didn't know they were like, what's this? So that was the most interesting part to me.
That is wild. That's so cool. Right on. Well, that's interesting. Maybe that's what an APU production manager's what their job.
I think is. APU Productions is his company.
Oh, okay.
They worked on like the Dora the Explorer movie and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Oh, neat. Oh, I see that here. Yeah. Right on. Cool. Right on. Well, there you go. A little bit of behind the curtain for filming of Rise of the Beast. But that's it. That's all we got for media news this week.
Okay, and we will finish up the show with convention news.
As people get ready for TFCon Toronto this weekend, Andrew Griffith has been announced as attending, and pretty awesome. He's a great guy and artist on many things. His probably most recognized is his work on Robots in the Skies, but he's done so much stuff. If you see him, tell him we say hey. I know Daryl will, because Daryl's going to be there. But
yeah,
anyway,
say hi.
Lots of great comics guests, media guests. So I'm jealous for everyone that's going to be there. You're in line while you're listening to us. Hope you have a great weekend. We do have one late breaking, as I edit this podcast, update for TFCon. So if you are there, Paul Eiding is no longer going to be attending in person. He will still be joining Jerry Hauser remotely for their G1 Q&A panel. So that's great. But if you were hoping to meet him and get an autograph or whatever, sadly, he's not going to be there in person this weekend. And that is it for convention news.
And that will do it for this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode. Dr. Pants, thanks again for joining us this week. Why don't you tell everyone where they can find your stuff online?
You can find me and my friends doing the Nerdstradamus thing at nerdstradamus.com, or you can just go to YouTube and find us on the Nerdstradamus channel there. That's our output of pretty much all the stuff we do. Of course, we usually do gaming stuff, and with this coming out on Friday, you can check us out, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. We'll be streaming some video games. I don't know what we're playing tonight. We just finished up A Link to the Past. Maybe it's some Mario Party. Maybe it's some Mario Kart, or who knows what else. And special this Saturday, the 11th, my friends and I will be doing an unboxing stream on the Nerdstradamus YouTube channel starting at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There will be some card packs being opened up for different card games and some special robot boxes that I've been getting in the mail. So come check it out. We'll be doing gaming and everything, so hang out with us.
All right. And as we end the show, we give a shout out to our Masterpiece Donatrons because they contribute at the highest level. So we give them a shout out on every show. So thank you again to John 4X Levingood, Dinobot Maximize, Demon Tech 82, and Septimus Solvane. You guys are awesome, and we really appreciate you continuing to support us at our highest level. You can also check out some merchandise at our TeePublic store. That's at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. You can buy lots of cool shirts, masks, and other merchandise with Transmissions designs. Of course, if you buy anything from TeePublic through our link, that still helps out the show. So don't go to tpublic.com, go to transmissionspodcast.com/shop. Thanks everyone for listening. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Later.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Transmissions. If you'd like to join the conversation, travel to our Discord channel at transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. If you'd like to support our podcast, go to transmissionspodcast.com/support or tell your friends about our show. Want some cool Transmission swag? Feast your eyes on our Transmissions gear at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. We'll see you next time.